Welcome to another tutorial in our blog making series. Since we have just recently begun our novel study, we are going to be setting up how we are going to make our blog posts for each of the engagements with the novel. So I'm going to start us off back into our blog for our homepage. One thing to note, if you haven't already done so, I've kind of encouraged a lot of students to do this, but make sure you have your website bookmarked. We're going to be using it a lot in this class, so once again, in order to bookmark it and have ease of access, you can go to the top right hand side of your screen and click the little star on the top right, and you can press bookmark this tab. What you'll see is that your site should ideally kind of pop up in your little bar over here. So you can always click it and go back to it whenever you need it, so you don't have to go back and type up your website. So first things first, we are going to be setting up the class novel section of your blog. Hopefully, as we go through these steps, more and more this should feel familiar to you, since we have been doing a lot of these similar things in our previous writing setup. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to create a new page for our class novels. All right. Once again, the logic for this is very similar with how we set it up for writing. So what we're going to do is we're going to navigate to the right-hand side. We're going to click Pages, and we are once again going to add a brand new full page. I am going to press New Page. Once I've pressed New Page, you could probably guess it, we are going to title this Class Novels. Once again, please pay attention to your proper punctuation and capitalization, because titles are capitalized. I'm going to hit Done once I've written Class Novels, and it shall take me to a brand new page called Class Novels. As I've mentioned in this class, we will be reading two major novels, so I'm going to navigate myself into Insert, and I'm going just to click the two content blocks that look like this to represent my two novels. The first novel that we are reading in this class is, obviously, as we have just begun, The Parker Inheritance, which I will have you label at this time. Once I've kind of created The Parker Inheritance, as you may know, the second one is also Pax, right? We can say The Parker Inheritance by Varian Johnson. Okay, very cool, right? You can go in your own time, go in and add pictures. Once again, in order to add pictures, you are going to click it, double click it. You're going to select image, and you're going to link something. Hopefully, if I type it in Google Images and I type The Parker Inheritance, hopefully something will pop up. If not, you will need to go into Google Images like I will do right now. Google Images, and I will put in The Parker Inheritance. Once I found a cover that I like, I'm going to go in, once again, copy image address, not copy image address. I'm going to go back into my portfolio. I'm going to double click that image. Double click that image. I can also press Images. And I am going to link it under Link and paste that in there. Wonderful. It popped up over here. I'm just going to drag it into the box. So I'm going to double click it and drag like so. Wonderful. I can also move it around the crop just if I want it to look better. But that is obviously not what is important here. Next thing we are going to be setting up is the page for the Parker Inheritance, and where we're going to house all your writing. So next thing you're going to need to do is, once again, because this is an example of a class novel, we are going to be creating this as a sub-page. In order to create a sub-page, we are going to navigate on the right-hand side. We are going to hover over Class Novels and click the three-dot symbol. Once I have clicked that, I can find Add Sub-Page, because once again, this is supposed to go into the Class Novels folder. Once I've created the new subpage, I'm going to title this The Parker Inheritance. Once again, using our capitalization rules. Once I have done so, I'm going to hit Done. And once again, taking me to my new page. Here is where we will be writing all the blog posts and all the things that we will be needing. As I have mentioned in class previously, I will be using these blog posts to check for our understanding of the novel and to see how we are writing and engaging with the characters, the setting, the plot, and our understanding of all of this. So this is a really important thing to know how to set up. One last thing before I kind of go in and really talk about that page. Once again, remember that in order to make your website navigatable, we still do need to include those hyperlinks. I'm going to set us up with how we can include the hyperlinks, so once again, we can click through our website. I'm navigating myself back to the home page, and I'm going to double click class novels so that everything is selected. Once I have double-clicked class novels, I can go into my hyperlink symbol, which is that little paperclip or chain, whatever that is. I'm going to click insert link, and very straightforwardly, I will type in link it to class novels. Once I have done so, it should take me straight to class novels. Same step applies in this case. I'm going to double-click the Parker Inheritance, and I'm going to navigate to my hyperlink. I'm going to press insert link, and lo and behold, we have the Parker Inheritance. Once again, if some of your pages look different, if it is, just delete it and try it again. Because ideally, once I go back into the home and I go back into viewer mode, I should be able to click class novels, the Parker Inheritance, and then find my way to this page. Now, on your own time, you absolutely can go in, add in your headers, make it all look pretty. I'm going to show you the main components that you are going to be needing to set up your blog posts. Now, I'm going to kind of navigate over to my expectations. So I have mentioned that this is the portfolio example that, I do have linked in the Google Classroom. My expectations are we are going to be creating a few blog posts based on whatever I post into the Google Classroom. But on top of that, we are also going to be needing to keep a running vocabulary list. If you would like to navigate into my Google Classroom to find this portfolio example, the way you can do so is go under Classwork, Student Website Resources, and click Website Portfolio Example. Once again, that is the thing that I have here. Then you can obviously go in and navigate to find class novels, the Parker Inheritance. Wonderful. What I'm going to be having us doing is beginning with a running list of vocabulary words, ones that you have hopefully written in your note taker during our reading time. I'm going to do this by first creating a text box. In order to create a title for my text box, I am once again going over into the styles. I'm going to click title, and I'm going to write out the title. So it is going to be vocabulary. What you will be doing with vocabulary, in case you have forgotten, I am going to have you physically copy and paste what you see here. This vocabulary list, again, if you have forgotten, is a list of interesting and unique vocabulary words that are new to me from the novel. My goal is to use these words, I might add, effectively in my writing. Once again, even if we go in and look at vocabulary words and Google their definitions as much as we want, the best way to really internalize our vocabulary and understanding is using it in our writing. So what is going to be happening is by the end of the novel study, I will expect every student to have a vocabulary list around 10 to 15 words long. As we write and read, I will be expecting that at least a number of those vocabulary words are going to be used in your writing, bolded and underlined, and I will show you that process in just a moment. Now, the first vocabulary word that we have unpacked in the class was possibly, the one I have on your note taker is fallout. That is a noun. So if I see that on my note taker, hey, maybe that was a word that I didn't know the meaning of. I'm going to go in and I'm going to write fallout. The process for this, for every student, is that when we have class time, you will go in and kind of make a list of your vocabulary words. I'm going to fix the font here. Okay, it's Open Sans. All right, sorry. I'm going to now Google the meaning of the word fallout. Oops, not the movie, definition. Make sure we do that. So I am seeing multiple definitions of the word fallout here. One is radioactive particles that are carried into the atmosphere after a nuclear explosion, and or the adverse side effects or results of a situation. Now, this is where it's important that we wrote the page and chapter number because I need to determine what is the most likely meaning of the word fallout from our novel. Since I read on page 2, I believe, that Abigail was worried about the fallout of her situation, this most closely aligns to the adverse side effects or results of a situation. So this is the definition I'm going to be selecting to include into my vocabulary list. I'm going to copy. I will allow you to copy paste this definition. Before I do that, though, I do need to know, the part of speech of fallout is a noun. I'm going to go in. I can abbreviate noun by putting N, putting a dash. Oh yeah, the dash key doesn't work on this computer. Well, I'm just going to paste that in. Fallout means the adverse side effects or results of a situation. Unfortunately, my keyboard does not allow me to put a little dash, so I'm just going to copy paste it there. All right, wonderful. What my expectation is, now that you know the part of speech and now that you know the definition of the word fallout, hopefully in your blog posts, you will be having the opportunity to use this word. I have shown you an example of one that I have written, and I'm going to go through the assignment in just a bit. All right. So now moving on to unpacking the first blog post that I have written for you all, I'm going to navigate over to our new Google Classroom section called the Parker Inheritance Novel Study. Anything that has to do with the Parker Inheritance, I will be putting in this folder of the Google Classroom, just for ease of access. So our first assignment here is the blog post number 1 about characterization. This is graded. Once again, we have talked about characterization in the class. It is character as a verb. We are creating a character. How do we exemplify their personalities? How do we show their thoughts, feelings, motivations, and all that good stuff? In order for us as students to be unpacking and analyzing their characterization, this is what I'm going to have us do for our first blog post. In your websites, you will be completing the writing prompt for 1 main character and 2 other minor characters. Luckily for you, I have listed those characters out for you. We have 1 main character, Candace Miller. We have minor characters, Abigail Caldwell, Brandon Jones, Siobhan Washington, and other characters minor characters if you'd like to include them. Your writing must include 1. Key quotes with page numbers describing the characters. Here's where your note taker comes in handy. A relevant explanation, relevant images to help visualize the characterization, and at least 10 sentences total. Since you are writing about 3 different characters, you will probably write about 3 sentences each, probably getting to about 10. Here are your options for your blog posts. You are going to be choosing one of these 4 options that I have created for you. Hopefully these are fun. Hopefully one of these is something that you might resonate with or maybe even do for your friends in your spare time. I have this 4 options. The first option, you can create a character starter pack to include into your blog. The way you would do this is you would use Google Slides or Canva to create a collage of items, places, or things you might associate with each character's personalities. What you will do is you will link the slides on your blog. You will describe the collage you made and the items you included and why. Once again, I have mentioned this, but please remember that we're explaining with evidence and analysis, not just assumptions. I feel like this character would like this. I'm always going to ask you why. Where in the text does it say this? So make sure that anything that you come up with should be based in textual evidence, not just your assumptions. They can be based off of inferences. Inferences are educational guess from the text, but if they are not based on the text at all, or if they go against the text, that is Absolutely not an influence, and probably something we shouldn't include in there. Once again, if you are choosing option 1 to create a starter pack and you have created a, what's it called? If you have created a slideshow, you can always go into the insert panel of your website and link your slides, just like we have done with our Google Docs, and then choose the slides of whatever you have created. Okay, so that is just a reminder for students who would like to choose the character starter pack option. The second option, characters and the colors they remind you of. Everyone has a quality that seems to radiate from them. Warm in yellow, peaceful in blue, timid in brown. Include images of the color and why this color reminds you of each character. Explain using textual evidence. Once again, we are explaining with evidence, not just our assumptions. So as you notice, the one that I have included in the example that I've made for you is characters and the colors they remind me of. What a student who is doing this will do is they will write the character and explain, right? The example that I have here is something like Candace. Candace is a naturally curious character who has gone through a lot of struggles and major life changes. She reminds me of the color peach because peach is a warm and fuzzy color, and Candace shows a lot of care for the people around her. For example, when she learned that her grandmother's reputation was tarnished, vocabulary word that I chose, she reacted maturely and empathetically. I might go in, this would be a great appropriate time to add a quote from the text, citing it with a page number in parentheses, period after the parentheses, and then just explaining it a little, right? This shows that Candace, blah, right? So I have those examples here. And I've included pictures of all that sort, all right? And I'll show you guys how to do this in just a second, all right? Characters, the next option are characters and their astrology signs. Many people believe that a zodiac sign can tell you a lot about your personality. So think Taurus, Aquarius, Gemini. Based on each character's personality, what do you think their astrology sign is? Include pictures of the corresponding zodiac signs. Keep in mind, this does not need to be their actual zodiac according to their birthday. It's just about their personalities. Once again, my goal for you is to be engaging with the characters' personalities and textual evidence that shows us about this, right? Maybe Abigail is a Taurus because she is stubborn. These ideas, right? Lastly, characters and their animal aura. Everybody has inner animal energy. What would each character's animal aura be? For example, maybe to show loyalty, it could be crows. Maybe for loyalty, it could be dogs. For crows, it could be intelligence or mystery. Make sure you are explaining. All right, so these are your 4 options. Once again, you only need to choose one. You are only doing one thing to engage with 3 characters of the in the novel of your choosing. All right. Once again, choose one of these 4 options that you think might be the most fun for you to do. Fun is used liberally. And you are going to include those in your blogs. Last thing I'm going to leave you with is how you can set this up effectively. So I'm going to go back into my portfolio. I'm going to show you a few things to make your blog posts very navigatable, organized, and clear to the reader. One thing you can make use of in your websites is something known as a divider. Just like the dividers in your binder, the divider is a very small line that just helps divide the information. I personally would add a divider in so that I could separate each of the blog posts. Right? So when I go in and start up my new blog post, what I could do is I could add a text box. Once again, scrolling up, going to the text box. So the expectations for this is that for each blog post, you're going to write the title of the assignment, which is blog post number 1 on characterization. And then you are going to also write as a heading the one that you chose. Maybe I might say characters and the colors they remind me of. I made an oopsie and forgot to do capitalization. Once again, because it is a heading, it needs to be capitalized. Very good. Characters and the colors they remind me of. If this is not something you chose, again, change the heading, right? Characters and their astrology signs. All right, this is how we will be setting it up. One very interesting thing that I recommend for some of you is when you go in with your text boxes, you can organize paragraphs of information in new text boxes. I highly, highly recommend this practice that every time you write a new paragraph, you create a new text box, because I will show you why. Once you create different text boxes, I'm just going to use the ones that I've previously written. If you use one text box for each paragraph, for each idea, right? If I've got Candace and now I've got Brandon, what you can do, I'm just gonna pretend this is about Brandon. So let's just pretend I wrote everything already about Brandon and this is what it looks like. One thing you can do as you go in to include your images to make it really interesting, right? So if I'm choosing, astrology signs, and I'm just going to go in and Google some pictures of star signs. All right. If I have proved and asserted that Candace is an Aquarius for whatever reason, I might go in, I might copy this image address, and I might go into my portfolio and I might add that image. Select, link, paste the URL. Wow, so beautiful. One thing I highly recommend is that you are embedding the images through your writing, right? How are we presenting the visual information in a way that's equally as appealing as the textual information? This is a second order of thinking. Oops, sorry, the cropping is weird. All right, so I might go in and add a picture of an Aquarius. If I truly, truly believe that based off of his character, I can't think of another, Virgo. If I think Brandon is a Virgo, once again, based off of textual information and no other reasons, I might go in and I might copy the image address, and I might go in and insert this once again as an image. Please, please, please get familiarized with the practice of just adding things into your blogs, because the sooner you can get comfortable with all of these features, the easier it'll be to kind of create. So once I have these, again, maybe I can switch up the where I place the images, right? Maybe I can still keep them the same, doesn't matter. But either way, I'm keeping it organized by putting each paragraph in a different text box. Last thing you might notice is that over here, I've also changed the background to be alternating colors for each of my blog posts. If that's something you are interested in, is a very simple thing you can do. On the left-hand side, you can go to the art palette and choose section colors to change the color of that specific blog post. Here are just a few tools for you to get started with your posts. Once again, remember our goals here is to write out our vocabulary, is to engage with the text by showing characterization for 3 characters, 1 being Candace and 2 other minor characters, and including pictures or engagements that help with your visualization or understanding of the character. As you might know, we're going to be following these characters for a very long time, so the sooner you can get acquainted with them and really understand their thoughts and motivations and the way they act and feel, the sooner you are going to really understand and really get this novel. By the way, a very important feature about Google Sites that you do need to know, that every student needs to know, is how to publish their websites. So, once again, you need to constantly hit publish every time you make new changes. Publish essentially means quote unquote save for your website. If you do not constantly publish everything after you've made new changes, your viewer cannot see the changes you have made. So please make sure once you have gone in and done the assignment that you hit publish, because when you turn in your sites to me and you have not done so, I'm going to see it as the version you last published. So even if you did this whole assignment and I don't get to see it, I don't get to give you a grade. So please make sure we go ahead and do that. So as you get started with these blog posts, I hope you guys have fun creating and do your best work. All right, I will leave you with that. If you have questions, please again let me know. Last thing is that you will be turning this assignment into me next Wednesday. Next Wednesday will be your due date for blog post number 1, so keep that in mind. All right, happy creating. Make sure that you kids like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.